The night was humid in Baytown, Texas, the kind of heavy air that clings to the skin and presses down like an unspoken weight. Streetlights hummed above an aging apartment complex, their glow struggling to cut through the shadows between buildings. It was in this silence that Pamela Jameson, a 44-year-old black woman, stepped outside for what should have been an ordinary evening walk. She carried the weariness of someone who had fought too many battles in her life, poverty, illness, loneliness, yet still clung to hope. Within minutes, her voice would echo across the parking lot. "I'm pregnant." A desperate cry, her final plea before gunfire split the night. By dawn, she was gone. Another headline. Another officer-involved shooting. Another black life ended under the blinding glare of red and blue lights. But as investigators pulled at the threads of her story, they discovered that Pamela's death was not just about what happened in those final minutes. Beneath the surface lay a web of secrets, betrayal, and a truth so unsettling that it would shift the focus from a random act of violence to a chillingly familiar suspect. Pamela wasn't just another statistic. Neighbors described her as warm but guarded. The kind of woman who'd lend you sugar for your coffee, but never quite invite you inside. She was a mother once, though grief had hollowed that title. One child lost to illness, another estranged. She lived alone now, in a modest apartment with peeling paint and the hum of old pipes, surrounded by the quiet reminders of what life had taken from her. She worked part-time as a caretaker for an elderly neighbor, supplementing with odd cleaning jobs. Money was tight. Friends said she sometimes skipped meals to stretch her paycheck, but she never admitted it. And yet, Pamela still believed in tomorrow. She had plans, whispered dreams of saving enough to move closer to her sister in Louisiana, where family meant safety. But Pamela also carried secrets. Her health was declining. She'd battled mental health struggles, bouts of paranoia, and in recent months, she confided to a close friend that she felt like someone was watching her. Was it just her anxiety or something real? On May 13th, 2019, just after 10 p.m., Pamela crossed paths with Officer Brent Waller, fictionalized name, a Baytown patrolman she'd known for years. He'd lived in the same apartment complex once, and their encounters were rarely friendly. Reports later claimed she had outstanding warrants for minor offenses, unpaid fines, nothing violent. But that night, Waller decided to confront her. The shaky cell phone video recorded by a neighbor would later go viral. It showed Pamela arguing, pulling back as Waller tried to handcuff her. She fell to the ground. She shouted at him to stop. And then her final words, cutting through the chaos. "I'm pregnant." 3 gunshots answered her. Silence. Her body slumped still. The screen shook as the witness gasped. To the public, the video told the story of yet another black woman silenced by police. To investigators, it was supposed to be an open and shut case of an officer acting in self-defense. But as detectives dug into Pamela's life, contradictions began to surface. Why had Pamela insisted she was pregnant? Autopsy results revealed she wasn't. Was it a desperate bluff to save her life, or did she truly believe she was carrying a child? And why was she so terrified in the weeks leading up to her death? Neighbors recalled her saying things like, "They're after me, and if anything happens, don't believe it was an accident." The first theory was simple. Pamela suffered from paranoia. Maybe mental illness clouded her reality. But then detectives found something curious in her apartment. A series of handwritten letters tucked into a shoebox. Letters addressed to no one, almost like diary entries. One read, "If they silence me, look at him. He knows what he's doing. He won't stop until I'm gone." The him wasn't named, but suddenly, what looked like a random police encounter now felt like part of a larger, darker story. The deeper investigators dug, the stranger Pamela's life became. Phone records showed repeated late-night calls from a block number in the weeks before her death. She never answered, but each voicemail was just silence. Neighbors recalled a white sedan parked near her building at odd hours. No one recognized it. Then, detectives uncovered a chilling detail. Pamela had filed a complaint of harassment years earlier. The man she named? Officer Brent Waller, the same officer who pulled the trigger. In her statement, Pamela claimed he'd harassed her, followed her, and even threatened her after a heated confrontation about noise complaints at the apartment complex where they both once lived. The case had been dismissed as unsubstantiated. Now, years later, she was dead by his gun. Coincidence? Or premeditation, hidden in plain sight? But the story didn't end there. Pamela's best friend revealed that weeks before her death, Pamela confided something startling. "I have proof he's dirty. If anything happens to me, check the files." When detectives searched her belongings again, they found a flash drive taped beneath a drawer. Inside were documents, copies of complaints, emails, and notes Pamela had collected. She claimed Officer Waller was involved in illegal side dealings, including off-duty security work that crossed legal lines. Had Pamela uncovered something she wasn't supposed to see? Was her death truly about resisting arrest or silencing her? When this information leaked, the case exploded beyond Baytown. Activists demanded answers. Pamela wasn't just another casualty. She became a symbol of how Black women's voices are ignored, even in their final moments. Crowds gathered outside the police station, chanting her name. News anchors debated her pregnancy claim, skeptics dismissing it as confusion, while supporters saw it as proof of her desperation. Pamela's sister sobbed at a rally. She begged for her life. She begged for her baby's life, real or not. And he didn't care. She deserved to be heard. But just when the case seemed clear, investigators made a discovery that shifted everything again. The flash drive Pamela had also contained a name. Not Waller's, but another man's. A former boyfriend, someone long out of her life. He was connected to the very officer she accused. Had Pamela been targeted not only for what she knew, but for who she once loved? And if so, was her killer acting alone, or was there a network of people invested in silencing her truth?